Greetings and salutations, guys. I am here today to review Kung Fu Panda 4. They're up to part 4 on this sucker, which feels crazy on one hand. On the other hand, this series began, I think 16 years ago. There has been multiple TV series and specials, and now a 4th motion picture. Lots of Kung Fu Panda. Maybe too much Kung Fu Panda, but hey, it makes people happy. Let's dig in, though, to how this movie is. It begins with Po, voiced, of course, by Jack Black, finding out that he is supposed to give up being the Dragon Warrior, that his time is almost over, his Dragon Warrior is almost over. He has to pick a successor and train that person, and he doesn't really want to do that. He doesn't think it's time for him to give up that title. In the midst of this, a big new villain shows up. Really, she's actually a small little villain named the Chameleon, who is also a chameleon. Seems a little on the nose, but a small villain who can become big because she is a sorceress and a shapeshifter and can become all sorts of big, powerful creatures, including some faces from Poe's past. And she's voiced by Viola Davis, so she certainly has a lot of authority when she speaks. And I actually really enjoy the visual of her when she's her little chameleon self, being lifted about by her big beast manservants who have to carry her everywhere. Poe has to go and find her and stop her, and he is joined by a plucky companion, a fox named Zhen, voiced by Awkwafina, and off they go on their adventure. And there you have Kung Fu Panda 4. Look, it is hard with a movie that reaches part 4 to feel like, you're at the best of a series. Usually at that point, you peaked. There are exceptions. There are some great part 4s. I was thinking about how slasher movies tend to have a lot of good part 4s. I don't know why that is. So you've got Freddy, Jason, Michael, Chucky. Those are all good part 4s. But by and large, it's usually, not the entry people say is their favorite. And I think that's going to be the case here with Kung Fu Panda 4. Which, it is aggressively fine for a lot of the run. When it started out, I was actually a little concerned because it felt like the energy was kind of low. It felt like, it just kind of felt like they're going through the motions a bit. I think the movie picks up as it goes along and has some, nice highlights along the way, even as it does still kind of feel like, okay, another Kung Fu Panda movie. It's directed by Mike Mitchell, has very eclectic career. He started out doing movies like Deuce Bigalow and Sky High. And then he started jumping back and forth between animation and live action, but a lot of sequels. So he did one of the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. He did the 4th Shrek movie. He did the live action sequences in the 2nd SpongeBob, and he did the 2nd Lego movie. And I think this movie, him and the animators and the writers, 2 of whom have written all these movies, they have their moments. And there are moments I thought that were very clever and fun. There's this character who's a pelican who has a fish inside his mouth, and the fish is the one who speaks and sort of seems to be running the show. And he's both funny and creepy and asks questions the movie is not going to answer about what's going on here. Kind of like the Disney question, like, why are there 2 dogs with Pluto and Goofy, who one acts like a dog, one acts like a human? Same thing here. Like, why does that fish get to be talking and sort of running the show, and it seems like the pelican's just a pelican? We'll never know the answer, but it's fun to watch. And there is this building that is precariously on a cliff that tilts back and forth. There's a fight scene I actually quite enjoyed the beginning of. It's in silhouette. It looks really cool, and I actually wish they stuck with that for the whole sequence, because it kind of veers off into looking like a regular fight pretty quickly, and I think they should have stuck to the silhouette. That was great. The rest of it, though, it's a sweet and pleasant, road trip movie that is sometimes funny and sometimes kind of groan-worthy. It has its moment throughout. The voice cast is all really good. Look, I feel like Jack Black has 2 signature roles, 2 roles that it was like he was born to play. Not that he hasn't been great in other things, but Poe is one of them. The other is School of Rock. But yeah, he's such a great fit as Poe. He continues to be. I really like the dynamic in this movie with Bryan Cranston and James Hong, his Poe's 2 dads. They get a whole sort of B-story subplot of them following along, trying to catch up to Poe. Those 2 characters and those 2 voice actors bouncing off each other is a really fun part of it, and I really like how they sort of play off each other and their affection towards Poe. They're trying to be good protective dads. And Viola Davis, look, I mean, she could kind of play this role in her sleep, you feel, intimidating, authoritative, and in this case, scary. But of course, she's great at doing it. Awkwafina, I know, is a very polarizing presence often. I enjoy Awkwafina as a performer. I do feel like maybe these Hollywood studios should take a look at when they're casting the same person this close together in this many voice roles. It is odd that Little Mermaid, Migration, and this opening in under a year, she has such a distinct voice and presence that it feels a little odd that, like, why would you want this character to sound so much like another? But maybe, I don't know, the market research, maybe they feel like kids like that. Hey, I liked what she sounded like in that one thing, now she's in this thing. Because Raya wasn't that long ago either. So maybe it's been a little too much Awkwafina too fast. She's still, I think, good in this movie. Has a good dynamic with Jack Black, even though I have no idea if they recorded together in this film. Often the animated features, they don't get to record together. But of course, they work together on one of the Jumanji movies. They have a good rapport here. This movie, when it started out, I did wonder if they were going for a little bit of a Cars 3 theme. I actually think Cars 3 is underrated because you have the main character, like in that film, who, you know, maybe it's time for him to sort of step aside, and maybe it's time for some young blood to come in. I do think Cars 3 was more willing to kind of deal with that a little more head on, because nothing happens in this story. It's not like Poe is off his game or sort of feeling like a little bit older. It's literally, he has just told the information, oh, by the way, now you're supposed to choose a new Dragon Warrior. And it doesn't really affect him as a character. And yeah, I mean, they don't forget that that's a part of the movie, but it also feels like they didn't really want to deal with that. So it just kind of feels a little bit sort of shoehorned in. But yeah, I think the movie got better as it went along. I was enjoying it. And the laughs, I think, sort of spark a little more as it continues, and some of those action sequences as well. Oh, by the way, the Furious Five, I forgot to mention when I was talking about the voice cast. They are conspicuous by their absence, even though it is explained, but it's almost literally like, oh, they're out of town right now. And you can't help but wonder, was it just that they didn't want to pay Angelina Jolie, Seth Rogen, Jackie Chan, a bunch of notable actors money to come back for this movie? There's a lot of big voice actors in this movie already, so that might have probably been it. Anyway, yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4 is neither terrible nor great. Like a lot of movies, it exists in that middle ground. The kids in the audience, when I saw it, seemed to be enjoying it. And I found it, as someone who loves the first movie, but then the sequels have been kind of whatever to me, it was another, like, okay, it was cute. It's a cute character, a cute world, but I don't think they've ever recaptured sort of the spark of that first film. But, you know, hey, there are worse ways to spend an afternoon. And I think especially if you are a parent taking a kid, there are certainly worse kids movies to go to. So that is my take on Kung Fu Panda 4. If you check it out, let me know what you thought in the comments. That's it for now. Take care, guys. Bye.